Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look here at Elon, and just before we do, we typically look at Bitcoin first, get a quick baseline. It's going to be a very, very quick understanding though, because Bitcoin is effectively consolidating after a major retracement from yesterday. We dropped about 9.5, 10% in roughly 3 hours, and it's all well and good now, right? It just pretty much dropped really, really low for a lot of the stop losses to trigger, unfortunately, and then it bounced right back up. It's hovering right around 65,000. And what we're looking for is a state of consolidation a little bit further for the price to leg back up again. But the 50-day sub-moving average on the 4-hour charts working as a very strong support. Fantastic. We'd love to see that. So good stuff there. So taking a look here at Elon. Oh, and just before we do, always have to tell you I'm not a financial advisor, right? But I can tell you this though, that I love trading and I love teaching people how to trade, right? So that's the whole design purpose of this, is for educational purposes, right? And of course, I have a trading community built with that specific idea in mind, right? So we actually have a really good group of folks there. It's growing rapidly. In fact, I'm probably going to cap it out here soon, just based on the fact that I want to make sure I get enough one-on-one attention with my members. But it's growing really quick in the sense that everyone just wants to learn to become better traders. There's nothing wrong with that. I share signals too with every single trade that I take, so you can kind of follow along and understand, kind of what a good approach would be for take profit targets, trailing stop loss, all the good stuff. And requests like this are things that I have from my members, and I like to make sure to provide that. So thank you to my request. What was it, Tony? Thank you, Tony, so much for requesting to cover Elon here today. All right, so let's jump right into the 1-hour chart, correction, 1-day chart, and work our way down. So big picture here, we can obviously see what's going on with Elon. It is essentially making a bit of a triangle pattern here, right? Now I'm just going to throw this out there because it just kind of feels like it might be trending towards this. But does that not look like a symmetrical triangle bullish variant? It does to me, right? It's a continuation. It's coming up, working itself into a wedge, and it's going to break to the upside. So it's a pretty common thing there. I think that we might actually see this price break to the upside here soon. It may not be today or tomorrow, but it will be very, very soon. It will go either way, honestly. But the key takeaway here is that it's making higher highs and higher lows. Correction, no, it isn't. It made higher highs and higher lows, and then of course it sold off based on Bitcoin. Disregard that, but the key takeaway is the simple fact that we are seeing a nice wedge pattern. It's kind of working itself into a little corner, for lack of better terms, and we will likely see that breakout. Looking down here, of course, at the RSI, straightforward, right? In between 50 and 70, that's actually pretty standard considering the circumstances, so I'm not concerned with that at all. The 4-hour chart, though, this is one thing I do like because I looked at this earlier, and it's really nice to be able to see, again, disregard this little section here. That was the sell-off from yesterday from Bitcoin, right? That shouldn't have happened. The 4-hour, 50-day simple moving average is working as a very strong support. Okay, and it's pushing the price action up into this resistance level here right at about 188. So the likelihood of it breaking to the upside soon is pretty high in my personal opinion, considering we have a couple of good motivating factors there pushing the price action up. Okay, so that's awesome there. And then regarding the 1-hour chart too, we can see it's trying to make higher highs and higher lows, right? That's higher, that's higher, that's higher, and that's higher. I know it's a bit of a stretch because it's kind of tiny, but for lack of better terms, we are seeing higher highs and higher lows on the shorter time frame, and that's important too. Okay, so it's basically pushing up to the upside here. Now moving on to, what is it? Let's go and take a look at the Ishimoku cloud. We're back above the cloud as well. That's a fantastic sign. We love to see that. In fact, most coins right now are back above the cloud, considering the fact that they got pushed down when they shouldn't have recently, and then they're kind of just breaking through. So that's a really good sign there. We like to see that. Furthermore, with TD sequential, we're probably not going to get much. We're going to get a bunch of resets here. But that basically just implies that we're in a state of consolidation. So if you're new to TD sequential, I recommend adding this indicator to your charting because it's extremely important to help understand market exhaustion. And the reason why that's important is because we have a lot of momentous trends going on right now. SAND, KDA, LRC, Elon, Shiba, all these ones that are really, really big and they blew up fast, right? They have this momentous trends, and be able to identify a momentous trend is important because a lot of those key indicators don't matter as much as this one. And what I mean by that is when we see a 9 on TD sequential, it's taking the 4th previous candlestick and counting up or down to get to that number. When it hits a 9, it's supposed to retrace or go sideways. In this example here, we can see it hit a 9 and it retraced. Okay, now it's going all but sideways, but that's all well and good because that's a state of consolidation. And we're not getting anything more than about a 5 or a 6. But what I want you to understand here is that when we see a 9 on TD sequential, it basically means we're going to probably see some kind of reversal or a push to the push sideways. So here's an example of that. You look right here, we can see a 9 here, right? So we have this bearish divergence, get to a 9, right? Gets highlighted, then pushed all the way down, and even went further. It just held right at the support level. It probably shouldn't have went past that. We would have got a reset. However, the price went down even further based on the simple fact that Bitcoin sold off at this exact moment here, right? Therefore, if you can kind of see, just at a 9, the price pretty much consolidated, went a little bit further. That's overtime. You don't see that happen too often, right? Now, I like to show that as an example because that could very well happen, right? I mean, we could have seen, a 9 plus and it kept going upwards, but it got rejected by this resistance here, right? And it's working itself into this wedge with the 4-hour, 50-day SMA pushing the price up too. We're bound to get a break to the upside, and I'm pretty confident we're going to see that soon, just based on that sentiment alone. So again, big picture, looking at TD sequential, doesn't matter now. It's just telling us we're in consolidation phase. But once it breaks that consolidation, pay attention to see when it hits a 9, and if it might be continuing to, if it hits a 9 and it's right at a resistance level, then it'll commonly just kind of stay there. If it's at a 9, it's not a resistance. Sometimes it'll keep going until it breaks one. It's an interesting phenomenon the way it works, but TD sequential is fantastic for that. So let's just go ahead and go with the big picture here and see. First of all, we got to keep in mind we're in the upper quadrant, so to speak, of Fibonacci retracement. So we're basically at 0.618. Therefore, this is a strong resistance channel. So the price does break to the upside. You can expect some type of pushback right here. So it could very well come up. And you know what? Let's do this here. So let's go here. What could have very well happened is the price could come up, right? Reject off that first one, and then come back up again, reject. That's like a perfect case scenario when you see that happen, right? The staircase pattern. That's very good. We want to see that. That's ultimately the goal, so we can get the price to break that resistance level and start trending towards all-time highs. Then it'll take off and actually start blasting through that max price tag, by the way, which would be roughly right around 466. So in order to get it to 466, we got to break this resistance level right at about 254. In order to do so, we want to see a healthy leg up. So we don't want to see this skyrocket pattern, right? We don't want to see what all these other YouTubers are pushing, in the sense that, hey, we want to shoot to the moon, right? No, screw the moon. Let's land on the stars and let's get it right where we need to go. We want to have that nice slow push. We don't want to have this crazy up and down pattern. That's why it retraced so far, because it got up so quick. We don't like that. We want to have healthy Elon, not unhealthy, crazy chaos Elon. Anyways, what I'm getting at is the bottom line here is we got to break that resistance channel first, because honestly at this point, to speculate that it's going to come up to, what was it, 466, we're not going to see that right away. Okay, even if we have a break to the upside here, it's not just going to blast right through the resistance level. The odds of that happening is pretty low. What will happen though is if we can break that resistance channel and then close above 255 on the one-day candlestick, that's when we see the magic happen, and that's what we're going to want to see. So ultimately, I like to set my alerts for that. In fact, let me just go ahead and set one right now at about 255, just so we have that alert letting us know to pay attention, because once you break all-time highs, especially with coins like these, they start getting very, very crazy very fast. But right now, I see we have a strong resistance channel right there, and that is essentially just telling me that we don't have to worry too much about it breaking through the first attempt. It could get right to the top and reject out, but we got two major resistance levels there. One with the all-time high, and this one right here is essentially the previous all-time high, right? Because if you look at the one-day candlestick, you can see that it did close right there. That's why this resistance channel is here. It's a pretty big deal. We can't just act like it's not going to happen. Last thing we'll take a quick peek at is the volume profile. Just kind of see where we're at for the most recent. Just say what this is the 29th. So let's just say approximately last 2 weeks of trading. The price is the amount of volume has accumulated the most at 180. That's below the price right now too. That's reaffirming the support level right where we have the 50-day 7-moving average on the 4-hour chart, right? It's right there around the same price. So we're looking really good here for Elon. I very, very much like what I see here. And all in all, it's definitely a good, very good situation. So we should expect a break to the upside here soon. And just note that resistance channel is going to give us a little bit of resistance. That's why they're called that. But I do think that if you're to set your profit target just below 218, right around 215, you'd be in pretty good shape to take profits for a nice little 15% pump to the upside. Those are the kind of gains that I like to see. So I hope you found benefit here. Of course, please like and subscribe if you do, and obviously continue following this channel, because I'm going to be making these pretty consistently. I have a lot of high volume requests that I need to make more consistently, and this one does feel like it's going to take off here soon. So hopefully that happens, and we see you in the take profit target zone here soon. If not, either way, consider joining my Patreon community, become a member, learn as much as you can, and grow with the community. It's going to be awesome. I guarantee you're going to love it. Thank you so much for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.